there's nothing left, now close my eyes for one last time and say goodbye. Lying naked while the snow falls all around me, drifting closer to the edge, but she won't have me. Wake up and sweat, full of regret, try to forget these memories lurking in me, lost in a dream. Unchosen paths, a broken past, a spoken wrath, the pain won't cease. I'll find no peace, no sweet release. Fragile creatures, we are taught to fear the reaper, ever running. We are dead before we meet her. These voices telling me let it go. I try and try, but I can't say no. This endless nightmare has just begun. My heart is dragging me down into oblivion. The endless lies I've cast aside, locked them in ice. Steel is my soul, my blood grown cold. I've gained control. Fearless creatures, we all learn to fight the reaper. Can't defeat her, so instead I'll have to be her. These voices screaming to let go. This time I'm screaming back, no, no, no. Don't say no. My mind's made up. Yeah, my fear is gone. Open my eyes now. Here I come for the last time. Say goodbye for the last time. Say goodbye for the last time. These voices screaming to let go. This time I'm screaming back, no, no, no. Don't say no. My mind's made up. Yeah, my fear is gone. Open my eyes now. Here I come. Oblivion.
Child, bastard, and beast, oh Lord, stand first to the feast. Come claim if you're able a spot at this table, mild and meek, down on your knees. For hide and seek, it's time that we feed. Your heart is racing, blood is running cold. Your fractured will is whispering, far away. Here be lions, say goodnight. With each part does your sanity die, sucking the life out, letting the dark inside. Say a prayer as the light leaves your eyes, or scream all you like. Your lightning can't hear you scream. Now scream, your lightning can't hear you scream. Now scream, now scream, scream to suicide. Don't choke on your pride. Scream, scream, now scream. Yeah, I'm gonna watch you bleed. Lesson 3. How does it feel? You're bound as blade. Those scars will not heal, no. Lost in suffering, drowning humanity dies, sucking the life out, letting the dark inside. Say a prayer as the light leaves your eyes, or scream all you like, your life they can't hear you. Scream now, scream out, the rose can't hear you. Dressed in rage inside my cage, almighty put him else soon. Still bound to the flame that I bear, buried alive in the coffin of the hope I used to be. I'll scream all I like, 'cause we're all mad here. Forever falling into my mind, deeper, deeper. The shadow of hope I left far behind. I'm just a stranger, real strange inside. You can run, but there's nowhere to hide. So scream all you like, no one can hear us. Follow me, come follow me, to my deep wooded well soon. Still bound to the flame that I bear. No release from this empty waking wonderland. Listen to me if you like, 'cause we're all mad here. Scream all you like, 'cause we're all mad here.
The sigh of the shifting sea, the kiss of the salt sweet breeze, the white of her silken dress stained in red, her memory fading fast, her mother sits, eyes downcast, a torn uniform in hand, farewells unsaid, that once a certainty, lost in grief, a daughter's desperate cries, unheard pleas, forsaken, beaten, tried, on her knees, a prayer passes from her lips into her soul, the goddess whispers. A heartbeat without harmony is moonlight without dark. The heart seeking equilibrium with balance, will your worried heart so still this broken melody, and there will shoulder thee one last step, only leaving an empty heart down by the sea, empty heart down by the sea. Shintamani, 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 Shintamani. Legacy of the lack, a continent in flames, the shores of her homeland stained in red, a memory fading fast, her people's hope, eyes downcast, a shattered faith renewed in goddess grace, we pray. Shintamani, 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 Shintamani. The late once a certainty, lost in grief, the people's desperate cries, unanswered pleas, forsaken, beaten, tried, on their knees, a prayer passes from their lips to their souls, the goddess whispers. A heartbeat without harmony is moonlight without dark. A
its knife through the deep. Natureless creatures perverted and evil, from foulness rise a vermin tide. Teeth bared, clawing the air, sing like to sin you, the rats do not fear you. In slaughter's king, the piper weeps, just wax mark on your back. Here in the valley, your death casts no shadow. Sin's lake comes from the dead. Lay bare, drink clean, red deep in the bones that feed the menagerie. Burns hot, burns brief, follow till there's nothing left but ash. Dark horizons, boiling seas, pandemonium from the borders. Chaos bleeds, savage nobles culture fear. Pandemonium, hear me lions, follow me. Dig in, pull back the skin. See what's inside you, the sickness that drives you. Bleeding black, demoniac. Pride breeding, but thrive these seeds. Rotten and reeking the fruits of your making. Testify, come take a bite. Bite down, blood in the cut, choking on life as the light slowly swallow and fade away. Or join the fray, lay bare, dawn, going more mind till it shatters just like glass. Lay bare, been clean, red deep in the bones that feed your insanity. Unwind, unfold your mind till it shatters just like glass. Dark horizons, boiling seas, pandemonium from the borders. Chaos bleeds, savage nobles culture fear. Pandemonium, hear me lions, follow me. Come follow me to pandemonium. Abandon all hope in pandemonium. Pandemonium. Lay bare, been clean, red deep in the bones that feed the menagerie. Burns hot, burns brief, follow till there's nothing left but ash. Dark horizons, boiling seas, pandemonium. Hear me lions, follow me. Horizons, pandemonium. Abandon all hope in pandemonium. Pandemonium.
Soul laid bare, foul and fair. Every secret, every odyssey. Answers unfold, one with the truth, the divine. By my guiding hand, perfect instead. I won't be denied. You are mine, you are blind, a fool till the end. Cast out for a more, I create, manipulate. You're kind in my image, my chosen ones. For you the time has come, the sun is setting. Say goodnight. With each bite does your sanity die, sucking the life out, letting the dark inside. Say a prayer as the light leaves your eyes. So scream all you like, your gods can't hear you. Say at night to the weakness that you hide behind, believing the lies, feeding the fear inside. Never once were you truly alive. So scream all you like, no one can hear you. Pride, greed, and not thrive. These seeds rotten and reaping the fruits of your making. Stick pride, come take a bite. Pride, please resist me no more. Twisted and broken, farewells left unspoken. Journey's end, as I ascend. Pandemonium. Here I rise, claim my prize. Every moment, every sacrifice. In Anabasios, I am the truth, the divine. By my guiding hand, perfected we stand. I won't be denied. You are mine, you are blind, a fool till the end. Cast down forevermore. I create, manipulate. You're kind in my image, my chosen ones. For you the time has come, the sun is setting. Say goodnight. With each bite does your sanity die, sucking the life out, letting
Good morning and hello everyone to LoreLines episode 127. I am Kobaran and we are here today to talk about Live Letter 84. Hi everyone. How are you?
God, is it 84 already?
It is 84.
Yeah, it's 84.
Yep.
Jesus.
Which I had to look it up. I was like, what did L mean in Roman numerals again?
The number on there too, Cobb. They have the Roman numeral and the number. Why are you looking it up?
One
That
day
sounds
we'll
like
I
reach
didn't
something
get that
I
far.
do.
I woke up at 3 a.m. to watch the Live Letter, which wasn't on until 7 a.m. my time. And so I
Oh.
was really tired.
Oh no.
But
It
yes,
was
we
worth
had
it, though.
a live letter yesterday, and not all of us have seen it, so I'm very excited to have Arden experience the trailer for the first time live in front of everybody. But before that,
Sorry.
Imagine if
bringing
it was
up,
just a
my-
flop. If it was just a flop.
Yeah,
I
no, it was
just want to
awful.
get
You've been overhyping it.
I know expectation is spoiler. I really want, before we go into this, Aeneas, I want to get your 1,000-foot take on, or 10,000-foot take on the trailer. Like thumbs up, thumbs down.
How do I make my thumbs up bigger? Honestly, I don't. It's just so hard to describe because so much of it was FF11 focused for the Alliance raids, and I'm being vague about this on purpose because I'm really, really looking forward to hearing Arden's live reactions to it. But there's so many Easter eggs there for nostalgia if you've been playing the game for a very long period of time. It's referencing so many expansions, both from the start to like the active current end game content
Mm-hmm.
of it. Still, it's blending things so well. Everything looks beautiful. The scenery is gorgeous. I am so very thrilled with how they've chosen to translate certain areas of 11 into 14. This game is going to be done so much justice, it looks like, and I am really so excited for people who haven't played 11 to get to experience it through this, because it's going to be worth it. It really is.
I am really stoked. I saw this trailer and yeah, it tickled the things I wanted tickled.
We still are streaming, by the way.
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, that's right.
I just got it set up.
It genuinely, and then there's stuff we'll talk about later too, but like the discussion on 11, like walking through the zone and talking about stuff, Yoshi P like held up gear sets and everything. It's everything that I wanted. I am thrilled.
Yeah, the only things I've seen from the PLL are the monk fist shark weapons and the archangel armor.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, so
That's,
yeah,
that's
okay.
basically
Here's a
the
ton
only
more.
things I've seen.
Anyone who's been actively playing 11 for the past few months knows that we were getting the Archangel armor. It was just surreal to see it up on screen. Like, oh shit, this is all happening in like 2 weeks.
So I'm
It's going to
gonna,
be in my hands.
I'm gonna hop over to this other scene just to make sure everything works, which I'm not convinced that it will. Let me see. I am using
Just
okay.
make sure that the audio is like actually in your audio.
Yeah, that's what I
sources
was
for whatever browser.
checking actually. So you read my mind. You know what I'm thinking. All right.
I have definitely not streamed 2 hours of a game before without audio because I forgot to add it to my audio sources.
Oops.
No, Arden.
So that said, while I have it on my audio sources, I can see it right now. I don't know if it's targeting the right window. So this is gonna be fun to see if it works. All right, Arden, are you ready? Can you see my stream? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna push play.
Oh God. The music though.
Right?
My favorite tracks to play.
It's so good. They're really just starting with this, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's
Oh
the
god.
whole
Wait. Why is Sky here?
And we'll go back over
Hello?
this.
This is what I live for.
Was Queen Swoon taken to the cloud? She must have been.
No one cares about the cloud. Go back to Tulia.
I care about it. And so does Meow.
I remember her.
I'm so
I'll
happy.
never see her again.
This is what I needed.
It seems that's what it means to die, I'm afraid.
Baby. Baby more important than cloud.
But what will happen to us? Are we just going to be sad forever?
What do you decide?
Yeah, it's called grief.
Something that I had accepted I would never have in Tuliyola. That I believed would forever be beyond me. That it was foolish to covet.
Even should it cost me my life.
I love this.
Save the heads.
That is such a gun. Is that Mustadio's?
No, that's the PvP machinist weapon.
Oh, Krish. Why is she a boss?
Notice that she was speaking. It's a voice raid.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing voice raids more. What in the Hildebrand was that?
Come, mortal. Allow me to
Was that Castle Small?
depths
Yep.
of my hatred.
And to divide my combat instinct.
What? Some of those have to be solo instances and not the raid itself, right? That's a lot.
Of my
We'll talk about it.
quenches the candle of your
I've already done a breakdown.
Okay, good.
I cannot die.
Shadow Lord looking good.
Not until I have
Hey.
eradicated you and your kind from this
He has
world.
not stated his rage.
I can say something else.
Look at it!
At last,
La,
Girlies.
la, la, la,
I shall
la.
fulfill our promise.
Okay, I did see that also, the Neutron glyph. But who cares about the lesbians when I have Final Fantasy XI?
I appreciate Lionerd in our chat already paying attention to the Shadow Lord
Yeah.
armor shift.
Right?
That's important. Yep. I'm just gonna go ahead and start dropping some photos
Yeah.
into our live chat.
Good.
So I'm just gonna play this back slowly so we can go through things.
Dude.
Yeah, the music was just amazing.
I
to
love that
So-
it fades in from 11 graphics too. Like that's not something that you'll really pick up on unless
Yeah.
you like
hear. Mhm.
actively log into 11, but
Like-
it starts right here.
Yep.
Like the play online texture, the
Mhm.
banding from like you playing this on a tube
On a
screen
CRT,
TV.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then having it suddenly come into stark relief when you start looking up at like the Juno Duchy.
Mhm.
Oh man.
Now,
My
I-
heart.
It's so good.
I
Why
have
is
to
it
ask.
flickering?
Wait. What's
have
with
to-
the shadow people?
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's a thing, but what's going on with that?
I know those are actual NPC locations.
Yep. So this is one of the things that's interesting to dive into because if you go ahead and let it play a little so that we get to like the actual like part of Juno, so things to pay attention to from right here is the blue sky, right? Nice blue sky. Nothing is wrong with it. And then we get to Juno, the combat instance, where we know we are.
Mhm.
It's the same shot, but the sky is different, right? Not only that, but the ground is torn up. So this is a Dynamis instance of Juno. Dynamis being
Yeah.
like the alternate dream reality thing, right? However, we're not going to go through the whole like live letter with Yoshi P here. He turns to the left at some point, and it also has the Abyssia sky, Arden.
Oh,
So it's
God.
a combination
Okay.
of both of them.
I was looking at it and I was like, this sky looks like the love child between Dynamis, Abyssia, and like Mordona.
Right, yeah, so that would be entirely correct. There's some implications about what happened in Mordona after Silver Tier, because of this now, which
I hadn't even
is a whole
thought
thing.
about that.
Right, yeah, so this is definitely a Dynamis instance because of the first ad pack. It's the whole goblin mech situation. So that's kind of a callback to Dynamis content in 11, right? However, the first boss is Prish, and her name is Prish of the Distant Chains.
Oh.
Like
Yeah.
Chains of Promathia.
Yeah, but also distant as in distant worlds that run so near.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. God,
Okay.
Talia.
So, for those who may not know, we got some strong reactions to this. Unidentified,
What is it?
clearly Zilart construction. So what are we looking at? What is this?
Why am I getting Happy's vibes from Tulia?
I mean,
Because Elpis is based on this shit.
Isn't this the Rulu Gardens?
no.
No.
So the Relude Gardens is literally like a palace gardens on top of Juno, that giant building that we saw earlier. That has like a set of gardens at the top.
Yeah,
And it's
which is where
literally just
Dynamis
the-
Juno normally takes place, by the way.
Right. Yeah. That's why it's like, why is it happening in Lower Juno? I guess it makes sense. It's something of an original story that we're getting.
Yeah.
But the Relude
I know where
Gardens
the
are.
confusion comes from because this
Yes.
is also called Ruan Gardens.
It's named in the same style because they are both Zealar. The Relude
Yeah.
Gardens being maintained by Kamlanot and Ealdinarsh as the Duchy of Juno. That's kind of their cover. So the Relude Gardens are built in the same style to evoke this.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, though.
Yeah, it is. They did a really good job on this. My question
Mhm.
now is, so we know that there are floating rocks north of Garlemald. Do we think that where do we think this is taking place?
Ooh.
Mm, No idea, because we're still trying to figure out whether or not this Vanadil is a place that has existed on Aetheris for a while, a la Dalmasca, with the tactics raids, right?
Right.
Versus this potentially being another shard, which is possible because of how prominently Bakul Jaja is featured. Both in the patch art as facing off against Prish, but also as like he's in the instance with us, talking to us, Arden. While we're in the first Alliance raid. For people who don't recall, Bakul Jaja in the overworld, after the events of Dawn Trail, is stationed outside of the bridge to other shards,
Yes.
guarding it actively. And those cutscenes that you observed as being possibly like a solo instance with Prish and Bakul Jaja present, that does take place in that region of Yuctel. So there is a chance that Vanadil is its own shard.
Okay.
I like
Also,
it.
this is a really
Wait.
random observation, but why are the sun dogs offset in this picture? It's driving me nuts.
Sundogs?
I'm seeing rainbow
the
and I don't like
like
it.
the rainbows.
Oh.
Like they're offset. They're not a circle.
It's 'cause
So I
it was
would
moving.
say that it would make sense that it would be another shard, because what Evilise is it's a world and it's a game just kind of integrated into its own little section of 14, and has its story kind of tied into certain parts of the other MSQ areas around. If they went with Vanadil being another shard entirely, they don't have to tie as much into the MSQ. They can make it a fully fleshed out story on their end, and they have more wiggle room to work with.
Yeah, I agree. And it makes sense also just in line with what we got out of Dawn Trail's story, with Living Memory being essentially a version of Tulia, and having that be the city above the clouds as being in another shard that we had to go to.
Mhm.
that descriptor for Tulia meant literally in the sky, but there are situations where that becomes metaphysical in 11.2, and like you look down on this glassy arena and you have reached some sort of weird interplanar heaven and are fighting for Vanadil as you stand atop it.
Right.
Which part of the Thornton fight is like a nod
It's like
to
that, yeah.
Yeah.
This sky
Except
also
it's more literal.
reminds me, aside from the rainbows, a lot of the Heaven of Lightning.
Hey Meowth.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Meowth.
Mm-hmm.
The sky
Yes.
fades from blue to partially red.
Mm.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
dead. Leonard says Yaktel in general has some thin shard barriers considering the giants had the visions before the portal was created, so maybe another shard. That's their guess. Yeah, exactly. So that
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exactly that. Because the visions that drew them to that area, that is one of the direct quotes from Eldon Arsh and how he was drawn to Tulia.
Right.
So if we're going from the idea that you can draw people from one shard to the barrier where it's like weakest
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
different shards, if it works in Dawn Trail for Alexandria and Living Memory, there's no reason that it wouldn't also work the same way for Vanadil.
Yeah. And I was initially resistant to the idea that Vanadil was a whole other shard because I was of the opinion I didn't want 11 to be so integrated into the 14 universe, but if we got an alternate version of 11 and that history and all of that detailed lore was just an alternate 11 that was part of 14 as another shard, I'm totally fine with that.
Right. And it's
Mhm.
also like we talked about this during our super long episode, right? But 11 already is kind of 14. You
Yeah.
know? There's not
Yeah.
really any escaping that no matter what.
No, it's 14 is so grounded in 11, it's not even funny. And
Also,
not
Also,
even
there's,
like
there's a especially weird
even
kind of
influence.
trauma that comes with looking at this picture for me, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm
Anyone
just
who
sitting
knows.
here like I'd pulled Despot from there and then I'd kite it over to that pond in the back left and then I'd run around in circles shooting it with my elemental cards on Corsair while people cursed me out and say in shout chat.
And then you need to
congratulations,
sneak
welcome
past the big bridge.
welcome to therapy, Arden.
I wonder how much
I-
of this is going to be explorable.
If I make a comment on the whole shard thing, the way the story has been kind of hand holding us so far, one would naturally think that this is, a shard because I mean, from where we came, it makes sense, and I'm not saying it's not possible. But for me, it feels like there's something odd about all this thing. That the easiest way to explain it would be it's just a different shard, because that's the easy explanation. But seeing the shadow people and the Dynasty Sky without knowing anything about Final Fantasy XI, I feel like that's the easy explanation, and because it's the easy explanation, they're going to twist that.
Right.
I don't know how. But that's the shard thing is exactly what everyone is expecting this to be right now, and it could be, but that's not usually how they actually work
Why does it keep
their
flickering?
narrative.
Yeah, I agree, Meowth, and that's why I'm like, I don't want to say what is it, where is it. This is just one of the potential explanations, because the other explanation is that we are just getting an aether-physical reaction from a Diabolos counterpart who's creating this dream state reality, because we talked about Iroha and her dreams, right? There could be a chance that we conceptualize it that way, but there is something just pulling us into this world, and it will fade once we're gone. I made myself sad thinking about that, though.
My crackpot theory is this isn't going to be a shard or part of Aetheris, and it's going to be straight up another planet in the universe somewhere, since we now have
That would be
intergalactic travel on the table.
I would be good with that, because that way the Zealer could exist as they are, because Yeah, here's the other thing. The timeline of 11 is so much grander than the timeline of 14. Like, their time from the previous calamity is a longer period of time than the entire span of, like, from now, or from the Sundering until now. And that was just
Yeah.
since their last calamity. They had a whole, like, established civilization with own turmoils and, like, political shit happening even before then. We're talking it's like 14,000 plus years, right? Versus the
Yeah.
12,000 that we've at 10 to
It's-
12 that we've estimated in 14. It wouldn't make sense for it to happen concurrently.
It's like if instead of Endwalker, we got an expansion going over like the history of the ancients leading up to the Sundering.
Yeah. We're working with timelines that we would not be able to match up. I don't like thinking about Eldonarsh as being older than the Convocation. Sorry, I had the visual of Eldonarsh with his arms crossed, looking up at old man La Habrea, saying, like, respect your elders.
Youngin'.
And La Habrea's
Yeah.
like, excuse
Damn
me?
whippersnapper.
Yeah.
With Eldonarsh being at least, like, twice his age, this visual is so funny to me because of the height disparity, too. Because
We need
Eldonarsh
someone
was
to
short
draw that.
All right.
I'll pay someone to do it.
Meowth, Meowth,
Honestly.
you have your charge now. We need it. La Habrea towering over Eldonarsh and Eldonarsh saying, "Mind your elders,
Respect your
youngin'."
elders. Yeah.
I mean, I actually can do that. So there's one thing. I mean, of course, this is 11. It's 11, so it's kind of like it came before 12. But looking at this scene, I'm also thinking of Final Fantasy 12 because
Yeah.
there's so Ivalice has land masses they call Purvama that they're basically floating continents or floating land masses. This is a thing in Ivalice already, but it specifically it's important in Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings because the whole story happens in a Purvama place. So if they wanted to take the chance to use Tulia to include the concept in the whole evolution concept, in the whole evolution thing, they could, because I'm seeing this shot. I'm like, it reminds me of evolution stuff.
There's also another zone, I'm forgetting the name of it, Arden, where Bahamut's terrestrial avatar fight is. It's very Sea of Clouds-esque.
Is flickering.
Yeah.
Do you see it, Cobb?
It's
What?
every time he's stabbing.
Yeah.
It's every time he's tabbing.
Yeah, I'm all
Okay.
Yeah.
tabbing.
Anyway.
Oh, right. That word that I hate, Riverne. Riverne.
Oh, yeah, the Riverne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always look at that and I'm like, I want to make this fancy, but I don't know how
It's-
roll are.
There's a region that looks more like it, called the Riverne in FF11, Meowth. It is where Bahamut resides. That is the seat of his power. And we've talked about Bahamut's relevance to 11 before, right?
Yeah.
But you're on the right track. There is definitely a theme here.
Yeah.
Which is why it was quoted so well in Dawn Trail when they're talking about, like, the heavenly city and residing above the clouds as far as all of that goes. So.
Yeah, Riverne and Monarchlin.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful zone. Absolutely
Yeah.
terrifying to run through when you're trying to do the story because this is a side note, they added like a whole bunch of like level 99 mobs to regions where the story requires you to be like level 45.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's
so
like
it's
level
like-
100 to 120 wyverns there and they have true sight.
Yeah, so you can't sneak or like invisible your way past them. You just have to pray or go through with like a group of high-level blue mages in order to ensure your safe passage. But it's like, please, I just want to do my level 40 Promothia cutscene quest.
That is
Let
Yeah.
me in. Yeah,
would they
it's
do
scary,
this?
but it adds a level of danger.
It's just like how they added level 140 something Apex enemies to Promethean.
Prometheans, yep.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
So if this whole thing is happening almost like next like in Jacktail, the first thing I'm actually thinking is it's all of this coming from the gate down there, and if this was something like, well, in 11 Dynamis, like the dream world of Dynamis, or whatever they may want to make Dynamis into 14 context. I don't know. I'm just getting the idea that if we go through this gate,
Content is no longer available.
Oh, it doesn't work? Oh,
Doesn't work.
boo.
if one goes through the gate, and this is just like a big if, and we got to living memory, and we use the same gate to go into the raids series. I mean, this is just speedballing, okay? If it's actually leading us to some memory fabrication, weird space, whatever, wouldn't that make sense that living memory is in the same situation as this whole thing? Like, it could be like a weird space thing, and that's why we can see a sun, but perhaps it's not even a sun. I mean, you know, my theories and all over, you know, but it's like,
Right, yeah.
It's like if we're going through that gate that we used to get to living memory, who's to say that? And you use the same to the raids. Who's to say that their situation is not exactly the same? You're just like being stranded in a space that could be somehow related to the concept of Dynamis, the dream world, the fabrication, the memory, whatever.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it would make sense just given the parallels that living memory has to Tulia. The hard part about that is, like, Dynamis instances are literally inflicted upon you because it's an avatar who's creating them. Like, you're specifically existing within, like, a dream reality that Diabolos creates. So this does imply, like, an entity being a part of it, unless, again, we just don't have the answers to this yet. It could be that they're just introducing a new aetherophysical concept to 14 by expanding upon that idea from 11. We're not
Yeah.
sure how they're translating it entirely yet. So a lot of what we're doing right now is speculation on what it could be, but the second we get in there, we'll be able to tell you for sure what's going
Yeah.
on. It's just a question of how are they going to introduce the concept of Diabolos Dynamis instances to 14? Because the Abyssius stuff is super easy to explain. That's also why we're facing against Prish of the Distant Chains. It's a version of reality that the goddess cast aside to be consumed. That just gave me a brainworm. What if when Atomos eats realities, Arden, it just spits it out into Aetheris, and we have to deal with all the bullshit?
So one of my other crack theories
We're the
is that when
dumpster.
Atomos eats realities, it's actually eating like the shards that are getting rejoined, and that's a function of how they get to rejoin to the source.
14 was originally supposed to be a sequel to 11. That's about the only thing that they could have done to raise the stakes is that also.
Yeah,
okay.
and
All right,
like
let me percolate on this.
So one of the biggest like PTSD moments I had when I was playing 1.0 at the end of its life cycle, I didn't know anything that was going on, right? Because I got into 1.0 like pretty late. So Dalmud had already like started growing in the sky by the time I started playing. I started playing maybe like 5 months before the servers shut down.
And
I didn't know that an update had happened. And I log in, and the camp that I had logged out had an Atomos sitting on the Aetherite, and
Holy
everything
shit.
around it went and killed me. And
you
I was
serious?
like, what the fuck? Yeah, so 1.0, Atomos would spawn on top of the Aetherite in camps, turn the Aetherites like this yellow gold color, completely disabling the aetheryte and just start spawning mobs because Atomos is like the herald of the end of the world.
That's Abyssia. That's
Literally, yes.
How
It has been driving me crazy for years.
Oh, this was critical. Okay, all right, great, cool.
Enjoy your brain worms.
This is okay. Well, you know what? You've inflicted this upon me. I'll accept this. Thank you for that. Super helpful. Yay! I was so excited to go into the rest of the trailer.
I'll have to see if I still have my screenshots from that part of 1.0. I lost some of my 1.0 screenshots, but I might be able to just
Please
find
do.
them.
Do they have any dialogue about the Atomos having been unearthed like they kind of are for Abyssia, or was it the Wings of the Goddess situation where they appeared? Because Dalaman growing in the sky is akin to the comet streak from the Atomos.
Right. Yeah, that was another thing that drove me nuts is like I had only just in the past like couple of years comparatively like done some of Wings of the Goddess. So it was like really fresh. Here you go. There's an Atomos on the Aetheryte.
It's
with Garlean ships in the background.
It's the
Oh wow,
same
those
model.
are Garlean ships. Holy shit.
That's
oh, this is from
exact-
1.0. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1.0. Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's an Abyssia.
Those are
Atomos.
Arcadian Empire ships. Just saying.
Yeah, like, this is for later, obviously, Aeneas, but this is, like, an actual video of, like, people, like, teaming up to try and take the
Thanks for the
one of the
follow,
points in
Blind.
Mordona.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you
Like-
enjoy our spiel. Oh my god, that's incredible. Fuck me running, I guess.
Like, there's a reason that Atomos in the Crystal Tower Raid series drives me nuts, is because I dealt with this bullshit first.
Yeah,
I'm
and the
like,
same thing with them spitting out void enemies during City of Maha. Like, Christ. Okay, all right. We're just gonna have to table this because this isn't something we can address right now.
So, all of this spawned from this right here. Just this sky shot of Tulia.
Yeah. That's why this is such like big implications for what we're gonna get, like in the Alliance raid, but also everything else. But also, it just looks beautiful. Like, look how lovingly recreated all of this is.
Oh, there's so much.
It has
love
a
in this.
texture now.
Yeah, Yoshi P, like, he walked into a wall and he's like, look how much time we spent on those rocks. It was really cute. He was so excited to talk about FF11. It made me happy.
Aww. Also, I will
the-
say, the sky is also reminiscent of, like, Walk of Echoes as expected, which also is another
Right.
reason I started thinking about Atomos, so...
Yeah, I mean, you gotta.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So, Yumi,
Okay, more trailer.
I saw this scene and literally, I know those are lilies. All I thought was lunar tears.
Don't make me.
But no, I didn't notice there's even flowers on the little aetheryte.
Oh yeah, there are.
Yeah.
You're lucky this is 14 and not near, otherwise I'd be sad.
For now.
For now. No, this is going heavy into the Type 0 stuff.
Yeah, no, they're conducting a state funeral, so.
Yeah, and they're like, are we supposed to be sad forever? Because they've never dealt
I
with
liked-
death before.
I do just want to point out that that's like a painterly style portrait of
Mhm.
Sveen.
Yeah.
They didn't just take her in-game model. They actually had like an artist rendition
Yeah.
done, which I think was
Yeah.
a really nice touch.
I agree.
With a rainbow sheen to the painting.
Yeah, I think it's pretty.
Iridescence.
Just the new dungeon.
Yeah.
You're not sharing in Discord, so we're a little behind again.
Ah.
Cobb, just a heads up.
Let me fix that.
I mean, it's fine, just letting you know.
There.
Bing.
Huzzah.
Danke.
New dungeon with Galulja.
Baby.
Now,
Oh.
Holy
Yeah.
vets.
Yep.
Maybe? I don't know.
Oh.
I love Final Fantasy IX.
What is this?
Do you know of anybody?
And the zombie guy right there.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
It's-
Resident Final Fantasy IX.
Why did we bring the little man here?
The little-
Yeah.
So, wait. Moment. What the what the fuck? That's a new dungeon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
This is
I
a
know,
new
but
dungeon.
I had not stopped to look at the pods. I mean, to be fair, it's the first time I've gone frame by frame with
Right.
in anything. The pods, and this is so reminiscent of the fucking towers in Endwalker. I mean,
Yeah.
from Shadowbringers
Mhm.
to
The particle
Over.
effect too. Like whatever was
Also-
going on here went wrong.
Also, if you remember correctly, this is all the way back in Stormblood.
Yeah.
Xenos had a facility that was similar
that
to
too.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the actual...
I'm gonna throw my crackpot theory out here again, that the faction that was just like barely mentioned in Dawn Trail
Mhm,
is gonna turn
Preservation.
out to be the Preservation. They're just gonna
Yep.
turn out to be the Telophoroi.
Oh my
That's
god.
my crack theory.
Yeah,
I love the concept of Telophoroi existing as a shard too, so there's a
Mhm.
version of that specific cult on every.
Oh my god. That
Cobb
would
is
be
going to get his invasion.
Yeah.
that would be interesting. Like they're all part of the same cult, but they all have different leaders, different names on different shards, but they're all led by the Asians.
Yeah, because like it's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's an unresolved thread because of the way Fandaniel talks about the Telophoroi in the 5X patches.
Yeah, as multiple
Is definitely
people.
like it's more than just fucking him and Xenos, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
still
it's-
hung up on his could Emmett Selk have found a way?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a callback to the first piece of dialogue that we ever see with him itself, with him off screen.
Mhm.
With his perhaps there is another way when he bears witness to us, and that's kind of what kicks off all the Shadowbringers stuff. So I'm treating that more as a callback to that. I do have a theory about what this is once we get to a certain point in the trailer and can talk about it.
I just
Again, again, Kobe will argue that this is not an ASEAN effort because Fandaniel was rogue. So
Exactly.
I'm not saying this is an ASEAN effort. I do think this is part of Preservation, though.
Yes.
yeah, that would be more.
I like Lionheart's explanation.
They're literally being preserved in the pod. It fits me with the name.
I love that
baby
Khalil Jaw is here
hiding.
with us.
And
Baby.
that's what I have a theory
Yeah,
on.
he's
once we
standing
get to a
there.
certain
He's watching
point.
us
Yeah.
kill things. Why did we bring him along?
So he could watch us kill things.
For science.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're training him to be a good leader.
Yeah,
He has
pause
to
on
witness
this real
death.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just this is someone who has had their head replaced. Lionheart in chat was like, Yoshi P likes putting people in pods. What if people just were pods? Just skip the middle step.
Listen,
I was looking at the background because
Right.
Yeah.
that reminds me of some screenshots I've seen of 9, like very heavily.
listen.
Yeah,
the
it
guy is
should.
just big brained. All right.
Well, so here's the thing is, those look like the same pods that we
Yeah.
saw in the previous screenshot. We've been talking about, like, souls being used for fuel pretty liberally, just because that is what it is. What if they weren't just using the souls,
Yeah,
though?
like
Because
the-
this could be,
Yeah.
like, drains you of ether kind
Yeah.
of situation. So the Telophoroi comparison is really, really smart, because it looks very, very similar, just
Yeah,
a lot
these-
Yeah,
less
it's very
organic.
similar to the Tower of Zot with all the
Yep.
Matanga in the
And
wall.
You're absolutely right. So these are the pods laying on their sides and inserted horizontally.
Woo.
Yeah.
So this
Sticking out of them.
guy's head. Now that I'm actually looking at it,
Maybe he just had a really big idea.
Like I said, he's just very big brained.
Yeah, can you just leave? So his head is modeled. Now that I'm looking at it, it's modeled after Quick Things in the Alexander Raids. It's the same model. It's just altered it, but it's the same model for
Scaled up, yeah.
Hmm.
for
You
quick
sure
things.
it's not
all
Megamind?
thoughts. No.
I'm sorry, I did hear
And
you so well.
and I don't know why the machinery is reminding me a bit of
Yeah.
of Bosnia
Nier?
when with the
Oh.
queen, the
Oh
queen,
no! Oh
queen,
no!
queen
Oh
Elder.
no!
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
This will be fun to kind of dig into.
Meow!
Yeah,
Don't
it's
cook.
like an ungodly cross between Telofroy, the Queen, Nier.
And the blue is
And
unnerving.
I like his mateys.
Meow! Don't cook. Get out of the kitchen.
Huh? What?
That when you mentioned Bosnia,
Yes. What?
I'm like, don't cook. To get out of the kitchen. You're creating a brainworm here.
I think it was pretty obvious, but maybe it's just me.
No, not to me. I wasn't thinking it. Now I am.
This is why we're a team.
This control room looking shit gives me
Oh.
such Nier
Yeah.
vibes.
See, for me,
So-
it's Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, well, pause when we get like a clear view of
Yeah.
the big screen, and then end also the smaller screens, because I need to know what the fuck is on the smaller screens.
Those screens. So
I
those screens
see
were
planetary
seen-
models on some of the screens.
Yeah, no, those screens
Right.
were seen. You could see all of those screens actually in Vanguard at the end. The
Okay.
same pictures.
Is it so? I'm wondering. It is the same like creature images that we're seeing on the red monitors. That was my
Yes.
question. Okay.
Yes, all of those images can be seen at Vanguard at
Right.
the final area.
I just wasn't sure if it was the same image.
Is
And if
the
not,
blue
they are
screen
shown
on
at
the
Origin.
left?
Yep.
The blue screen on the left gives me ocular floor but sci-fi vibes.
Yeah, this looks like a possible diagram of shards, maybe?
The
I don't-
blue image, the
Like-
one with all the circles and everything, that is
Yeah.
superimposed at the end of Vanguard on the big screen.
Okay.
Yes, that one I knew.
Yeah, this reminds me of
I
the
might have a
control room
screenshot of
in
that.
Chrono Trigger when Lavos comes out in the future, and they're all monitoring.
It reminds me of the Nier control room in the raid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the big picture is related to what we see later in the video with the wind kind of wrapping around the sphere and all that.
We
Yeah.
see this, like, we go there. That's going to be the dungeon more than likely, and why we go there.
Yeah, it does feel very much like we are seeing something on a screen and then we go there. Or if it happens in reverse order, like we go there, something horrible happens, and then we come back here to kind of get readings on it or whatever to
Yeah.
figure out
Right.
what happened, right? So this is related to a scene later on.
I've been playing too much Warframe because like the cloud looking stuff in the top middle of the monitor looks so much like the void from Warframe except like tan instead of teal.
So I take back what I said. I don't think this is a diagram of shards. I think this is an impact crater. I think we're looking at an eruption of ether.
I
Possibly.
don't
think
know what it is
we are
yet.
looking at a solar system.
It's a very chaotic solar system.
Or a soul system.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
Arden is full of like ways to fucking
reminds-
hurt my brain.
I-
It
I
reminds-
think- What I
reminds
think
me-
of it's a radar put in put in stop motion. Like
Okay.
I think
Remi-
the center is like the sun, and then orbiting around would be the planets, and
Can-
then the ones that they don't.
Can I just say that in this control room, presumably, where all this important information is, we just have like ads for Red Bull right here in the back.
You didn't see those in Solution 9?
I did see those, but not in the control room where they're trying to run.
I hope
everything.
it's not the control room because that'd be so fucked.
Hey, Listen, you gotta have energy when you're
That's
No,
what the
you're doing
rec room
science
is
shit.
for.
That's how this works. Most engineers are fueled by Red Bull. I'm just saying.
Not wrong.
They're fueled by coffee, but yes, I can see that.
I mean, coffee and Red Bull. They're interchangeable, believe me.
Mix them
Yeah.
together. That's what a final
Yeah.
week is.
Yeah.
Oh my god, no.
Yeah, I know a few who mix their
What
Red
my,
Bull into their coffee.
My co-tank I've been rating with this tier, shout out Valara, is a grad student, and she makes this horrible concoctions when
Oh, I
when she's
bet.
So,
studying.
this is Halatali.
ARR dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. because we're getting
Yay,
enough duty
Holotolly getting
support.
duty
Yeah.
support.
Oh,
Yay.
right. I was like, why is Halatali here? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are now, the important thing mechanically here is they are now rolling out duty support for all non-MSQ dungeons. They're doing it slowly than they were the
Yay.
MSQ, but it does mean that, like, if you were someone who is nervous about playing with other people, you'll be able to do it solo. This is the shit that fucking got me here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's why I said mommy earlier, because I'm like, we
Yes.
don't see mothers in.
So, this is a couple of things to point out here. This kind of evokes a parallel between how Kryl was handed off. So I don't know what the relationship is between this woman and Zeralja. We don't know if this was like romantic or an adoption situation or what have you. Doesn't make sense with Galulja's coloring, right?
Yeah.
However, if we're bringing Galulja to this dungeon, do we know what happened to the mother? Are we going on the typical Final Fantasy quest of, let's go find my mom? Oh no, she's in a zombie facility. What
Right.
happened to
Yeah.
her? Right? So that is a potential explanation for why we are bringing this poor child into the Resident Evil facility.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the Resident Evil facility. Thank you. But yeah, I just think it's odd because we haven't seen, aside from Otis's shell, we haven't seen any Mumalja in Solution 9 or Alexandria. And so to see this, it makes me wonder, did Zeralja already have Galulja going in? And then that can't be because Galulja is not like 30-something.
Yep.
So I don't know.
We'll find
curious
out.
to
I look
find out
forward
more.
to finding out.
Yeah.
Selfishly,
Please
I
look
hope that
forward to
Zeralja
it.
had his heart broken by this woman. I just love an angsty boy, okay?
There's your angsty boy. Resident Fantasy 9 Automata.
There's
Yep.
that
like wind wall?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the stream, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Scene
Sweet.
ultimate.
And it's the
Bean.
extreme. It's not giving away too much interesting here as far as the extreme.
Oh, look,
goes.
it's a Cubily.
Why does it look so much like a Mumalja?
Why is the background
Cubely.
cracked? Does it do that in normal?
From Double Zeta
Guys,
Gundam.
Okay.
Yeah,
I never-
it cracks when it's
Okay.
it's one of the things that made I think I went over this during one of the music analysis streams. That I was like, you know, my theory that the actually the sky of Atheris is fucking fake. So
yeah.
when I saw Lamat coming in and actually shatter the background for this mock scenario and then crashing and going into what you guys said, it was based on Final Fantasy XI, the sky effect. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this kind of this is very much an instance in which someone's breaking through the screen, so to speak, and revealing what's behind that. And it's
Yeah.
I could make a joke here, but it's not something I believe, so I won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somehow I've only done this fight once. I did it for the MSQ and I have not gotten it in roulette at all.
I have gotten it a few times, but
Few times for
being
me,
the insane raider that I am, I will be running this quite a bit on patch day alongside the Alliance raids. So the weekend after patch, we can go in and talk a little bit more about the cool stuff that gets revealed there, because the harder versions of fights always have implications for ether physics, and I love breaking down the mechanics of that.
So Yoshida said that the normal mode wasn't that hard, really. In extreme, there will be a lot of ups and downs, something the floor you're standing on, but not too difficult, not too much focus on thinking mechanics, but execution mainly.
Right, and it's
bit
a longer
than
fight.
maybe a
as a
minute
result.
than extremes.
I
Yeah.
do
So it's
wonder.
we're expecting par for the course for extreme difficulty. It won't be difficult at all.
What I'm wondering is, how are the ruins of Bastok going to play into this and the 11 raid?
Right.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yep.
Maybe it's just going to continue being a thing of like, because it could also be that they just borrowed a model from 11 for it, because they do that for so many other things.
There's that
unfortunately.
My theory is that because of like the nature of this fight and the fact that they're trying to go to like another shard, like they've made a pit stop like next to wherever the fuck 11 is.
Right. Or again, it could just be implying that they have taken down other civilizations, not necessarily 11
Yeah.
specifically, because if we go through and pick out everything in 14 that is 11 without care, then the whole game is 11, right? Because every
It
single
could
creature
also-
and like most of the buildings do have references to it already.
It could also be that, we keep looking at other planets, other civilizations and all that as shards, shard this, shard that, kind of like how we look at other people as shards, shard this, shard that. This could be just a planet on its own.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think someone had
Yeah.
mentioned that it could just be a planet.
Yeah,
in space.
like
And
since
just
travel's on the table now.
Everyone in 11's an alien.
and there's also
Have you seen Frisch?
Yes.
also there's the fact that the interforce fight actually happens in digital space, so to speak. So yeah.
Right. That's a good point too. It could be that that's what we're getting out of 11 because we are already getting hints of this is an altered reality kind of situation. So
Yeah.
it could just be that it's VR. I would personally hate if it's just, oh yeah, it's only VR. But
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just a really popular game in Solution 9.
have you heard about Final Fantasy 11? It's really
The
popular
critically
MMO in
acclaimed
Solution.
They
Final
wouldn't call it
Fantasy
Final
game.
Fantasy 11. They'd call it Vanadil or something like that.
Oh my god. It's literally echoes of Vanadil, the video game.
Oh, man.
Critically acclaimed MMO with a free trial up to level 45, including 3 expansions.
That is
I
the
hope
most-
not.
That is the most meta thing that could ever be in game ever, and shatter
That is the
wall. It's
that is the
awful.
best way for Yoshi P and the devs to troll us.
I would be
You know
so
what? I
mad.
would accept it. Hats off to them if that's the route that they go.
I'd be simultaneously pissed as hell and impressed.
Yeah, I would be upset that I like it. This is how I
Yeah.
feel about puns. I don't like puns, but I am impressed as hell when they work. It would be that.
Though Aeneas, I think there's personally, if because if it's digital space, the whole theme of Solution 9 in many ways and Alexandria is about data, and data is information, and data could be also memories. So I don't think it's necessarily that it's
Oh.
I don't see that it's necessarily that the Bastok and the other place that I actually don't remember the name are like just fabricated. They could be fabricated, but the information would have had to come from somewhere. So then again, digital space is also easily overwritten and manipulated. So there's this thing in which we have to be very careful because there's like the thin line between the real data and what could have been manipulated, like we do
Right.
with Photoshop.
Because that's the thing, too, is we talk about places in 11 that appear in Sveen's trial. It could be that Vanadil is a place that Alexandria has already destroyed.
That's
and
what I
we
was
are
thinking.
picking
Yeah.
up the pieces. That is a possibility.
And it's just a
I
memory of
need
it.
Cobb. Cobb, I need you to go back to the start with Juno's shadow people for a second. Everyone just remember we're at 123.
Right there.
Those
They're
are
the
kind of
same-
similar to this, aren't they?
Let me pull it up. I'm actually in Juno in 11 right now, and if I tab out, my
They
game crashes.
are.
Same model.
Yeah,
Yes,
same model.
they are. That was my first
Those are
thought.
memories.
But instead of blue, they're actually red. That's
Yeah.
and they're playing an extremely interesting differentiation between when you start thinking about the story of Final Fantasy XIV, they've been playing this dichotomy between blue and red because we have been associated with blue with Heidelin and red with the Assassins. Well, in that case, Primal Soldier. So
Can I offer
I
a
got-
potential explanation?
Yes.
Arden, do you have by any chance any screenshots of the Zeal Art disembodied souls from the Garden of Rumet that we could perhaps share?
Oh.
Yeah.
Let
So-
me.
Here's the thing about the Zeal Art is they were immortal souls, right? And their civilization fell. They didn't necessarily die. Their souls basically got trapped inside one of these like crag towers, the Garden of Rumet. It's the one that we talked about in the Sea of Altair. As these red amorphous soul-like creatures, this is a little bit more person-shaped, but this was something that happened to the Zeal Art when this is also part of why Nagmalata's story was so good, because he wanted to join that civilization. In having his realization, in order to become a part of Promathia, he actually ascended to this state of disembodied soul, casting off all physical form. This should evoke the Aya that also have Promathian symbology all around their
Yeah.
area.
Oh my
However,
god, they sure do.
they sure do. So it's kind of what happened to the Aya, but just to the Zeal Art using this specific color scheme. I don't know what to do with that information, but that is a possibility here as well. It's something to point out.
Now I'm just imagining an alternate timeline where like Zillart has basically come back, but they've now all ascended into this state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a potential. What if there is a version of Abyssia? Because Abyssia is like versions of the timeline that the goddess doesn't like, right? And we have an
Right.
Abyssia version of Promathia, we have Abyssia versions of Wings of the Goddess. We know that something happened with a Shadow Lord power scaling wise too. We don't have an Abyssia version of the Rise of the Zealert story. What if Eldenarsh succeeded?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just putting that into the ether for FF11, folks. What if Eldenarsh succeeded? I have a feeling it would look a little bit like this, maybe.
I am
That's
not
A
finding
terrifying thought.
any screenshots. By the way, I'm going through a video right now to see if I can find them. But
You can find one in Nagmalata's death scene, because he turns into one before he gets absorbed. So if you just get a
Alright.
cutscene of Promathia's ascension, you'll be able to grab at least Nagmalata's soul. I hate that I know this off the top of my head.
no, I don't want the final cutscene. The music will make
For
me
for
sad.
for reference, just to have a better idea into this whole thing, what would have happened in 11 if El Narsha had properly won?
We don't actually know, outside
Wow.
of how it would have impacted the avatars. Because if he had succeeded in opening the Gate of the Gods, the avatars would cease to exist as conscious entities. They would devolve into beasts. What's important about this is that the avatars are servants of Altana. They are creatures that Altana has essentially ascended into service. We know this because of summoner dialogue, which is incredibly difficult to get in 11. But you have to defeat these avatars, these summons, in order to get them as a summon. When you defeat them, Diabolos and Bahamut, I believe it's the two of them, both have dialogue about how they serve Altana because she brought them to their current positions of power. So my theory is that the implication of the avatars no longer existing as like sentient creatures, as just devolving back into beasts, implies that Altana would be gone if Eldenarsh had succeeded. The other thing is, part of Eldenarsh's visions was Promathia lying to him. So it could also just lead straight to the chains of Promathia Abyssia, right, where emptiness has taken over the world. But it would have to end up being a combination of multiple things, which is why the combination of multiple things in the sky in Dynamis Juno, as we've seen in the trailers, is ominous. TLDR,
So if
apocalypse. Souls don't exist. Souls wouldn't exist the way that we expect them to.
and Altana disappearing is a bad thing, I take.
I don't actually know. I have mixed
Okay.
opinions on Altana.
Um,
She's not as bad as Heidelin, but I also don't like the idea of her going, no, I didn't like that timeline. Atomos, eat it. Like,
yeah, like
bothers me.
between that and like the contrast of her role in Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, I'm like, I feel like this is an unfeeling AI.
Yeah. I kind of hope that this is the direction that we maybe get story-wise here, because I would love to know what happens to a Vana'diel without Altana. Yeah, there you go. So it's tinted a little bit pink here just because of how Promathia is in the background, but this usually has an orange hue around it, following it around. Yeah. So this is a black orb with a little red core, surrounded by orange particle effect. And the Zealert souls just wander this last bastion of their ancient civilization. Trapped
Here's
as
another good
soulless
example.
orbs.
Prish yelling at these things.
So it's like it has a core that's red surrounded by this whole. Why is it reminding me of this of how souls are portrayed in Drakengard?
Yeah. It's you keep breaking me off with FF11 lore. So that's what the imagery calls to mind here. So it could be indicative of this sort of situation too, because this is literally a soul housed within barely a shell of its previous memory. Yeah. Horrifying thoughts to ponder as we move into this patch cycle.
Yeah, just
Yeah, there's people look at 11 a lot of the times and are like, "Oh, it's so like cute," and and I'm like, "Bruh,
It's so
Bruh.
dark.
it is so dark."
We can move on to later portions of the trailer where we're just getting straight up fun things from 11.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
at 123.
Yeah, we
Yep.
still got to go
If you wanna
into
just-
the whole dungeon stuff. So here we see
Yes.
the swirl of fire we see on the screen. And then
Fire?
we're actually here, or well, whatever, ether, fire, whatever.
It
I'd
might
say
be fire
because
and
everything's
earth.
burned here.
Yeah.
Explosion.
Yes, explosion.
Explode.
The elements of explosion.
Looks like it looks like the coils of Bahamut first turn.
No, I
Yep.
want to go back really quick. What is this? Because this
Are you
makes
sure
me
it's
think...
fire? Are you
No.
sure it's fire? Because it reminded me of Earth.
That is one of the ships.
Earth aspected.
Ah,
Earth aspected.
That's one of
ether.
the Alexandrian vessels that.
okay. So we fly here.
I assume that's a
wherever this
ride.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be. It
Or
also
it's
reminds me of my
participation.
crackpot theory that the that dungeon we were going through earlier could be a really fucked up version of an arc.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly Galulja's mom. We don't
That
know.
makes sense with preservation involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
Shalani.
I just need as many action shots of Wooklamot kicking ass as possible.
This
Same
right
thing.
here.
What are they fighting in Shalawani though?
It doesn't matter. This gun is amazing.
Yeah, I do love the gun.
What
Who
a
gives a
big
shit? Give him
gun.
a bigger sniper.
Right.
This is going to be a duty because if you go further,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
It's
a
a lot
certified
easier to
snooper booper.
Yeah. And you notice his glass is already cracked here, and you see the duty line on the outside here.
Oh yeah.
right there.
That is a solo.
It reminds me of Mustadio's gun in.
Can I,
Yeah,
real
Eleven
quick,
Stadium.
Stadio's gun is
Oh,
that
okay.
gun right there is the PvP machinist weapon.
can
Oh,
I
okay.
go back to that shot of Kona real quick? Because
Gladly.
after this, we're going into 11 stuff. Have we had a Machinist solo instance yet?
No.
No.
Where we, an RP instance? Is there a
No.
chance we may be playing as Kona in this and we're not just helping him out?
That would be amazing.
We haven't
I
had a
would
Yeah.
Machinist
love
one
that.
yet. And the trend is we get a new one for each new job. We don't really repeat the jobs.
Yeah,
unless it's,
because
like, an all
that's
Scion thing.
machinist. That machinist gun is when you do a limit break in PvP.
Yep.
They pull out that gun and just annihilate
So
people.
yeah, and he's very much centered in those lines there. So there is
Yeah.
a chance that that's what that is. I would love that.
Yeah.
I would
God,
love that
the
too.
opening.
So we have the opening to 11 here, and it
It
makes
all
me.
began with a stone.
It
That is
makes-
such a
Sorry,
high-res fucking crystal. What the fuck?
My question is, why are we seeing this in game? Because this is obviously an in-game cutscene. This isn't. They never use stuff
Yeah,
just for
yeah.
trailers. So, what
Did you guys?
in-game
Did you,
is going to lead us to this? This is a really, really, like you said, a very high-quality cutscene for something we're going to get in-game.
I don't know if it's in game. It does feel like a transition,
It
It
could
does.
be, yeah.
especially
No.
with that particle effect, because that's
But-
not how lighting renders refraction.
but listen, it's giving me two things, two vibes, in here. One is from two patches of Shadowbringers art, 5.2 and 5.3. If you recall the patch artworks with the
Mhm.
crystal with the facets. The one is the one we have the meteor, Albert, and Elizabeth in the middle, and the other one is with the Catman holding a very similar crystal. That's 5.3, and I wouldn't say it's a necessary callback to Shadowbringers, even though Dawntrail is brimming to Shadowbringers. But the other thing is that didn't you guys say that the different quote unquote timelines in 11 are facets of a crystal?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the different timelines, they meet in the reality of the Walk of Echoes. It's like the dark, depressing gothic place. The different facets of the crystal getting split, they represent the sins of man. That's why we have the archangels. They're the physical manifestation of the facets of the crystal.
Cardinal virtues.
I still love-
They're the same thing, and that's blown my mind that they're exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I still love how Walk of Echoes is like a mix of like Castle's Vol and Tulia gone goth.
Yeah. She's so pretty. That's my daughter. Look at her go. Look at
I
her
love
She
it.
go.
looks
I
so
love-
good.
Look at her go. Let
She's
her
this poor
swear.
paladin that she's about to annihilate.
Is
She has
that
no
hold on?
idea.
Doesn't that look a little bit like Validor's gear?
It does, yeah.
Please put Validor in 14.
That would be amazing if this is
That's
just
my homie.
just outside living memory. What's going on? This.
It's the coloration of the hair is wrong though, but it is his hair.
Yeah.
It's the wrong color. A shard of Validor, perhaps.
She looks so good.
Here, look.
Oh.
Yeah, Mora and Tulia, look at the path that we are specifically taking here down to what is
Oh.
a teleporter between island areas.
Yeah, that's the teleporter that takes you back to like the main causeway.
Yes, yeah. So we can see the party running on the right-hand side towards the left side of the screen. That is a teleporter. There are different teleporters in different areas to take you to different parts of the floating city.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to
That's
touch
so cool.
the thing, and then the pad lights up, and then you cry when your alliance somehow runs too slow to get to the pad, and then someone else has to go flee back to the teleporter to turn it back on.
We
That
love
sounds-
running through this as a large group.
It reminds me so much of the Heaven of Lightning, really. It's like almost
It's
like-
so pretty.
Here we're fighting
And
Krish.
here is Krish of the Distant Chains. This
I
is
thought
the
she
Oh,
was-
the
boss.
background is super warped in the bottom right.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
yeah.
it's like illusion wibble wobbles.
I
So that's
literally
the
thought
arena
she was
edge.
floating. She's just standing there. She's like, yeah.
Mhm.
That's funny.
Yeah. Also, something to note here, if you pause, the specific angles that they've been using for this portion of Juno looking up, this is the same view we get of pseudo-Zealardian architecture in Primivians when you're going through remains of previous civilizations. Yeah, so they are evoking some very specific imagery of Primivians without actually diving into it here. They do the same thing in the opening cutscene.
Yeah, this is like the exact angle you get of the
It
Juno
is.
Tower in the middle of Primivians.
Yep. Yeah, it is intentional that we are approaching it from this way. We are essentially doing a Primivian without being in the memory space.
Great.
Yeah? She's so badass.
She is.
And also, I just want to appreciate they did not take away her melanin. Thank you for not whitewashing Prish.
Yeah.
Happy about that.
So what's with the Orosite?
This is the role quests, because all of the totems
Okay.
were
Yeah, no, that's not Orosite. That is that's
That's
something
totem.
that, yeah, it's the totem that you
Are
find
you
out.
sure it's not Orosite?
Yes,
No.
it's the totem. It is a totem
Yeah.
from the melee DPS quest.
Mm-hmm.
But what if it's made out of Orosite?
It's
The whole role quest, those totems effectively work like Orosites meta-narratively, so...
they work
Why
like
is
it,
the
but they're not the
Cactuar
same.
moldy?
I don't know.
We just have to save it.
And why are we fighting on the bridge?
Probably
That's a
Because
good
we
point.
need another bridge fight, and we
Yeah.
need another excuse to throw in Gilgamesh's theme.
Literally, I was very disappointed when we didn't have a battle on the big bridge. When here it is.
Right. Do we actually think this is Hildebrand?
Oh, by the way,
Oh,
if you
yes.
look on the left, there is a thing where you have to mash the button.
Yep.
Also, did someone shoot Hildebrand in the head? Is that why he had a glowing orange
No,
spot
no,
on
no.
his
no,
forehead?
his hair's on fire.
Instead of getting a low
Oh.
poly Hildy, we're getting a badass Hildy.
Yeah.
Did his eyes turn red, or no? He kind of.
They had like a
Hey, Meowth.
lens flare on
Hey,
it.
Meowth. Meowth.
What?
He has red eye
Hello.
syndrome.
It was funny though, because they literally had commentary. Yoshi P was like, "Why is he hot now?"
This
Yeah.
killed me right here, where it
Yeah,
zooms
this
out.
specific flash.
Yes,
It,
does
and all of the sound effects
yes,
of like menus.
and then you go
And the
back.
fucking
Right here,
party
pause,
list
pause,
in
yes,
the bottom
the
right.
party list exactly.
Just pause
that
right
killed
here
me
for
right
me.
here.
Yeah,
And then-
I love it.
Yeah, and
The
right into
run up to
Shadowlord's
Castle's
castle.
Vault. Man, Castle's Vault looks
Look
good.
how pretty it is, and with the
It-
lanterns too, with the blue light.
Yeah.
Fuck lighting those on the first approach, by the way. That puzzle was bad.
Yeah, there's some awful puzzles. I do love that. Do we think that's actually the way the party list is going to look? Because it's not exactly the 11 party list if you pay attention.
Yeah, I don't think so, just because fucking with people's UI is like really awful from a gameplay perspective. However, I would love for this to indicate that they maybe added a new UI theme.
That'd
that
be
is 11
cool.
inspired. That'd be cute. And then for this, they just moved the party list to the
Yeah,
the bottom
because
right.
if you look, the digits are more conclusive to like current HP and MP values in 14, and there's a vertical
Right.
hotbar in the top right.
Yeah. So this could just be a reference of editing, but it could hint at a new UI, which would be really cute, and I think I would use it because I like the stripped down aesthetic.
Yeah,
So-
me too. I really like how minimal 11's UI is.
The references here are so good too, because we're like, this plays so quickly, but it's superimposed over the interior of Castle's Fall as well, which
Yeah.
works so good. And once we get to Divine Might, please pause.
Okay.
However, if it is indeed an UI change, then that would have really interesting implications in many ways.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at him.
Look at it. I just,
I'm
makes
going to
me
riot if I
so
can't
happy.
have that shield on my paladin, just so
Right.
you know.
yeah, the attention to detail on this, giving it the red particle effect for the paladin, it's so in line with everything that we're getting. The models are so high quality. play again real quick so that we get to another one, just for looking at the arena, because it looks like kind of a small arena, right? However, pause right
Oh
here.
yeah. Oh no, not that.
So
Reminds
this
me of
is
Delkfoot.
yeah. So this is a room inside of Tulia, because in order to finish Rise of the Zealot, you either have to go face all of these archangels individually, or if you have a special item that you can only obtain on certain full moons when the weather is right from a random lake in the middle
You
of
never
Fei
get
Yin.
over that item.
No, because we actually had to fucking wait to finish the story to get this, because I wanted to do Divine Might. Divine Might is the instance where you just fight all of the archangels at once, and it happens in this room in Tulia. Because you can see the door up at the top left too, right? Look at the cool Jaja just watching us do this. It's very funny to me.
Man, I wouldn't have
This-
stood a chance against you.
Yeah. This is an instance of we're actually going to be facing all of them at once. My fear is that this is an ad pack before a final boss,
Right,
which would
yeah.
not be doing them justice. However, based on the fact that our Taru friend over here is casting something from the sidelines, I would love to have 3 of the archangels be targetable bosses that the tanks have to deal with, like a full boss fight where each tank has its own boss, and then 2 of the archangels are doing arena mechanics like casting meteor or healing or dashing around doing random damage throughout the arena that you have to deal with. The
That'd be
fact
cool.
that we're getting this in addition to the Shadow Lord boss fight is also fascinating, because this is like the second to last boss fight in Rise of the Zealot. Because you basically do this and then you go face a Eldenarsh. So there is a potential kind of beat where we have the first boss, which is Prish, and then we go into an ad pack, maybe Fafnir is a mini boss. We would have to jump to Shadow Lord in order to get to the Archangels. Although, if they make this the last fight, I would be happy, because that would be doing them the justice they deserve. This fight was more of a bitch than fighting
I don't know. They
Eldenarsh.
could do. Don't they do 4 bosses for the wing, or 3 bosses?
It would be 4. So it's boss, mini boss, or ad pack, boss, mini boss,
So
or
with
ad
4
pack.
bosses, it would be Prish, the Green Dragon, Archangel, Shadow Lord, right?
Yeah, but that
Not
puts everything in the
necessarily,
wrong order.
but yeah.
I also Fafnir also is not.
Well, I wouldn't
The
say
kind of
order,
thing-
but like naming them off.
Yeah, my hesitation with that is Fafnir is not that big of a name to warrant being a highlight boss, if that makes sense. Fafnir makes more sense to me as a mini boss,
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree.
agree.
because Fafnir is like a placeholder fight for approaching Nidhogg in 11. It's not even the boss fight that's technically supposed to occur there. It's just if you're off.
Oh,
the
they were
Nidhogg
fighting. They were fighting Fafnir earlier, so we could. Well, you could
Yeah.
probably see if the arena was closed off. I mean, which it does anyways, but still, it's
Yeah. The arena looks
Mm.
small for Fafnir, which is why I'm like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they shake it out. I just hope that they do Archangels, like, don't do them dirty, you know?
I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be something weird like Prish, then Shadow Lord, then Archangels, and they haven't shown us the 4th boss at all.
Right, because starting in a Dynamis instance, it could be going straight to Castle Sval to fight the Dynamis Lord, which is like the dream reality version of the Shadow Lord. Again, interesting that the Shadow Lord has both his armor and does not have his armor, because that's 2 different versions of the Shadow Lord that we see in game as well. So I don't think they're taking the story entirely literally, but also Tulia's sky is completely fine. Tulia looks like Tulia, just in really good graphics. So it could be that we're starting at a Dynamis instance, we get out, Prish gives us some verbal dialogue of, oh, now we can go get rid of the source of the problem, and then we go do this. That's also a possibility. This just looks so cool. I'm so excited for this.
No,
I've
there was
never been so
also-
excited for a patch.
I think it would be awesome if this Shadow Lord wasn't the final boss, if it was the 3rd boss, and it was just this big bait and switch. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would be so happy with that.
Right, because it's rare that they show off the actual final boss.
Right.
in the patch trailer. Something also worth noting is on the approach to Castle Sval, in the distance, we see the purple line of people approaching a cutscene. So it could be a situation where we get a double cutscene, which I
In
don't think
which-
we've had in an Alliance raid since Heavensward.
By the way, in which area does the Fafnir appear?
Dragon's Airy.
Yep.
Okay. No,
Which
I was asking. I was asking just in case it may have been Jacktail, and there was like Fafnir could be okay. So it's a different.
Yeah.
It's
See,
okay.
it looks like a mini boss area, right? Like it doesn't look like the biggest thing. However, it's the same arena size that we got for Nofika, right? So we just don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and here we have the cool Jaja. Wow, I love Galul Jaja from Final Fantasy XI. Just pointing that out, because that is where Galul Jaja comes from.
So this guy. I don't know who this is. But he looks important.
Theoretical shard of a Lineral is where my bet is currently.
Yeah, because
And then
of
he gets
armor.
his ass beat by Prish.
Yeah,
Prish kind of just... Yeah. Prish is kind of just like that. Oh, the blue particles above her are interesting, though.
Yeah. That's a factor of Atomos.
She could fight Lise.
So good. She and Lise would be best friends, honestly. Prish would be like, "You're my sister now. Let's go on an adventure."
I really like.
And
what
she's
they
like
did
sided
her
with
design.
Galul Jaja.
I like that.
They would get along, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know so much in 11 if she'd get along with Galul Jaja from 11, but from 14, absolutely. But it is one of those things where it's like, if we're pulling Galul Jaja from 11 in as well, what other Utter God characters are we going to see? Will we perhaps see
Gabi!
Dreamboat Prince
Oh yeah,
Lizard?
this is straight up Dynamis because you've got the statues, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first ad pack. So
Yeah.
this is just straight up the Dynamis Juno reference.
Shadow Lord's Castle.
Yep.
Man, Castle's Vol looks so good.
Right? The metal textures.
I'm just...
The crystals! The crystals!
The Magicite. I mean, we knew the Magicite there was like, hey, you're getting Archangels. And I'm like, yep, we sure did. It made me happy. It made me very, very happy.
Here we have
There
the
he
poor
is.
victim
Dun,
of
dun,
Galka
dun.
racism.
Awaken.
Yeah. 11 has a lot of racism in it.
It does.
And here we have the new car content.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I was actually really thrilled with the fact that the mount transforms into just the black shadow. You just fly around with that.
It starts as a tile too.
Yeah.
Yoshi P and Foxclaw were giggling like little kids.
Separate mounts.
Oh,
There
I
are two
bet.
mounts.
Yeah.
There's one
Yes.
that's the cloud where you just transform into the cloud, and there's another one where you just ride a tile around. And it
It's
has
so
a special
funny.
ability where you can press the special ability and the tile kind of glows like you're going to fall, and then you start panicking on top, and then it does disappear.
Yeah. He looks so good.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, also pause here for the mechanics too, because he's essentially gathering his armor here because he starts nude, and that's how you face him. That's how you face him in the base game. That's how he appears in all of the Z-Alert cutscenes. The armored version of him we only see when we go back 20 years in the Crystal War, and he makes his pact with Lilith to try and turn the tides.
I see a priesty looking person up on the top of the stairs.
I do too.
Yeah, up here.
Yeah.
Never make pacts with the Diablo witch.
That looks like cool. That looks
Dawn
like
Maiden?
the Altana. Yeah, Dawn Maiden. Because it's not Kalu, it's the wrong coloration.
Yeah, that's why it caught my eye. I was like, that's not like Cami Nuts, that's not Eldenarsh. That's...
Yeah, it's important to note, we haven't actually seen any FF11 villains yet. Like, none of this has shown off any actual villains from 11. Because we haven't seen Probladon, Eldenarsh. I don't think Nagbalon accounts believe me. I went frame by frame looking for him. Uh, nothing yet, damn you. But like we don't see anything.
She was obsessed yesterday, trust me.
Yeah. I went looking. I genuinely, we're gonna get like the last cutscene. We're gonna get a hint of someone like half cut off screen,
Right.
being like, now we can get started. And that's all I need is a shot of his ankles, and I'll know it's him.
A shot
Like
of
I
his
said yesterday-
ankles.
Yeah, like I said yesterday, we've gone from feet pics to ankle pics.
I know what I want, and it's Nagbalana's ankles. So mechanically, this also looks so fun too. Because look at the effects that are happening to people who are getting hit by this AOE. That is someone absorbing power, specifically darkness, from people's souls. This is an Odin thing. Let's not dive into that yet.
I love it. It does look fun.
The particle effects here too.
The particle effects are so good.
The animation here is from his combat intro in Wings of the Goddess when he joins the field to take down Sir Rajalis's troop. That's another just little Easter egg for 11 players, is that end to the cutscene, because it is one of the most badass moments in 11. So I just want to point out on this patch art, that may not even be Bakul Jaja. That could be the original Galul Jaja from
Yeah,
11 that they
yeah.
have to take this out with, because the swords don't make 100% sense.
Right.
Question.
Answer.
Did you see the effect of the crystal in the A in Crossroads?
Yes.
Why is there a hole in Reen's outfit?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I didn't see
Yeah,
that
right
till
here.
just now.
Yeah.
The stabbing. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I like this image of Reen as the Oracle of Darkness.
The amalgamation is so good.
Yeah, I love it.
Do we want to talk about the Metron thing?
We'll get there. It's
Yeah.
at the end of this.
Dispel some things.
Promises to keep. Damn it.
I hope they
I
exist.
know you went off yesterday about that.
Yesterday? No, it's been a week and more.
No,
And I went-
no, you've been going over it, but then you heard it on the end of the trailer yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
This
This right here.
happy.
This is awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. I think people are confused by it though.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the we got the full intro cutscene to the Ultimate. Like Yoshi P queued in and showed us the whole intro cutscene.
Right.
Which I may be able to pull up. It's on their Twitter. I'll go looking for it.
This is one of the I watched that cutscene. This is one of the instances I would pay to have Neela with us right now.
Yeah, it's unfortunately we don't have an English version of the intro cutscene yet. I am working on trying to get a translation for it. If you play, the only bit of English dialogue that we do have is what plays here. And then we can scroll back and kind of talk about this, because this has some implications, but they're not what I feel like people are interpreting.
Right. Now, because of that means there's new voice acting for both of them.
Correct. I mean, it's Ultimate.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good. We'll play the rest of it so people can hear. Oh, you have audio muted, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And it's also.
Oh, I know what
quite
it says. I'm
slow,
looking.
so it's not
I'm
gonna
looking.
come up.
I'm looking at. I'm looking at the screenshot for Eden, for the one where it inverts the colors.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
Do you have a translation for it?
No, I can make out some of the kanji. There's a voice in my head.
Fulfill our promise.
Okay.
Control
so,
Eden. Oh, can't control Eden.
Okay.
Yeah. Here and now, I shall fulfill our promise, which means this is still Metron. This is not This is not Reen or Shiva
Right.
being Mitron.
No, I
This
was
is-
referring to the inverted color where they looked at the intro cutscene.
Yeah, there's a full intro cutscene.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll pull the
Where's that
link
posted?
up for.
Yeah, I was just translating the Japanese that she says.
Ah,
Yeah, that's about as close to it as I can get, but it could be
I'll
slightly
let you know when
different.
I get a full translation. It's important that people see the full cutscene though, because there's a few things we can talk about with it. I am putting the link to the clip from stream in chat, because the only clip that we have of the full thing right now is what was discussed. Yeah, there we go. And just walking through it, this is the stage for E8, which is when Reen takes on light and ice ether to become the Shiva icon parallel in Eden.
oh, soul shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nakama no naka
Mila would have a
ni
field
koga
day.
eiden
He would
no
love that.
seigyo dekinai. Yeah. The voice in my head can't control Eden.
So this is the new part of the cutscene, because previously this is just what we had in E8. This is the reflection thing. That's the parallel that Meowth was talking about earlier with patch cover stuff. However, she is not just herself here. So I've been trying to find confirmation of whether or not this is possession or Reen ascending to the seat of Mitron. And for the sake of this discussion, I may propose that we talk about Artemis as Artemis so that we can use Mitron purely as the discussion of the seat title. Does that work?
Yeah.
To not get confused?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Because those are our options. Either Reen ascended to the seat of Mitron now that Artemis is gone, or Artemis is possessing her. Those are our options.
I have a third option for you.
Yes.
What if Reen was also a shard
She
of
can't be.
Artemis?
No.
She physically can't be, because in order for that to be true, then Minfilia would also have had to have been a shard of Artemis, which does not make sense because Artemis had held the seat of Mitron being ascended to the Asians
sorry.
already, but it would also have to imply that the Asians had ascended someone not from the source to the seat of Mitron using Artemis' shard, which doesn't make too much sense.
So, question: do we have confirmation that Reen is a shard of Minfilia, because she doesn't look
No.
like Minfilia?
We don't have confirmation of who she's a shard of, and I don't think we know for 100% certainty where the Mitron and Logriff of the first were actually ascended from.
Right.
Which is why I suggest that they could both be shards, and that there's some like fucking weird like merging of shards occurring here.
They could be, but I find it unlikely. Just for the same reason. Cobb and I were talking about this pre-stream.
Yeah.
Like, everyone here has been operating under the assumption that like the Asians didn't know too much about living memory, otherwise they would have shut it down. It feels out of character for them to have ascended a shard, not of the source.
Okay.
So
I'm translating the intro cutscene again.
Yeah.
The one where she has the Mitron sigil up. It says Hikari no Miko ni no chikara de ni te sui ni rogoko yabuta zo, which says, with the power of the priestess of light, I finally broke out of this prison.
Yeah, so it's Artemis possessing. That's what I figured.
That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, and with her talking about the promise, Reen didn't make that promise. It was Artemis to Gaia making that. Unless they're talking about coffee biscuits, in which case I don't know why it would be this big of a deal.
Right.
But on the topic of living memory, I've kind of changed my mind a little bit about.
Oh yeah.
About it, in that, yes, the Asians view messing with souls as, an abomination. The ancients would have hated it. It would have been an anathema to everything they believed in. But we also know that the Asians themselves did not consider the Sundered Souls to be viable. And so I don't think they would have really cared, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because,
no, the logic
yeah,
tracks.
so that in that sense, I feel like they were likely aware of living memory and maybe influence it in some ways, but didn't really care that they were doing these things because they were just messing with Sundered Souls. It wasn't like they were messing with actual
That
whole souls.
doesn't really make sense because they wanted to rejoin the souls as well. If they started fucking up with souls, the whole restoring their civilization would have not tracked.
But it doesn't destroy the souls; it just recycles them. So they
Still, it's still messing with the live stream, something that they abhor.
yeah, but it's a Sundered live stream. I don't think they would
If so,
have viewed it the same.
so what? They need to rejoin the thing.
I know they
They-
do, but it's a means to an end. So saying, okay, we're going to do this horrible thing, but it's going to eventually all be rejoined anyway, so we don't care, tracks for me.
Zoela in
I-
chat. Sorry, just want to address an ether physics thing here. Breen would have the blessing of light, but here she's embodying two different etherical substances. I don't know that that would be enough to protect her if she's already taking on so much strain.
Yeah, I would say no.
What does it matter? You know, we have, and that's actually amusing because I was discussing this. I was discussing this the other day about, is it true that the blessing of light protects from acid possession? This would imply that it doesn't. Because that's the conclusion that the science reached in 5.2 when they suspect why has not any ASEAN tried to take control of the Warrior of Light. And of course, the science being the science train thought is like, no, surely the Heidelin's blessing of light must have protected them. This will straight off the bat imply that that's actually not the case.
And I agree with
So
that.
if-
Yeah, that's
I-
true. That is based off of an
because
assumption.
all of the all the blessing of light does is prevent corruption of ether. If you inject someone's soul and memories into a body, that's possession. That's not corrupting their ether. It's still there. It's just you're adding another person basically. So it still tracks. So
I also
yeah.
I was gonna say I also think it's interesting in this clip that it is like the original cutscene for the intro to this fight until the moment that darkness starts swirling around and entering Reen's body and she screams in pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very visual representation, right? So no, but that is a good point, Meowth, because it is just something they're like, oh, it must be the blessing of light, and then we don't really address it again.
Yeah.
No, if there's something that Shadowbringers did and like everywhere, and if Dawntrail is referencing this whole, I mean, Shadowbringers like left and right. One of the things Shadowbringers exemplifies is the science actually know nothing of the world's true workings. So of course, the one who was feeding us information was Hades, was Selk, until the whole thing happened, and after that. We've presented facts, but the science have been interpreting things as they, usually did without a proper guide. So the moment by 5.0 to the rest of patch content and onwards, it's just the science making assumptions of things they actually don't know.
Yeah, I think it's also worth pointing out that like Heidelin using light does not mean that the light belongs to her and she controls it. She's just using an aspect of the world. The same way that like we use earth magic when we're casting stone 2, right? It's not that the light belongs to her and all of it does stuff. It is a physical thing that she can manipulate. It's her chosen ether association. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
same way as Primal Zodiac.
Exactly.
Basically aligned to the polarity of darkness. They're primals. They're not like the great power of that element.
Mhm.
And we could go into Wakabi here, but let's see that.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. I mean, we love Final Fantasy. It's one big game. It is fun though because Cobb. This means I have to add to Project Zodiark because
Yep.
we have a new version of an Ascian. So I wish I hadn't started by styling my Sephiroth wig literally 2 days ago, because it would have been perfect to knock this look out in the span of like this weekend.
Right.
But now instead I have to get another silver wig. So
I love it.
Kofi go up to sponsor another silver wig because they're expensive, maybe. But like I will have to do this look eventually, due to my dedication. I feel the tug.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see it.
However, this is just how we are introduced the ultimate. So this is just like the taste, how it develops and what happens during this whole thing. It may well still very much change the whole context of all that. So
it's well, the way that the summoning cutscene finishes here, I guess I'm calling it the summoning because of what happens next, is because this is not actually the first phase of the fight. We queue into it and we watch Yoshi P die to some mechanics. Like, he actually shows us part of the first phase. The first phase is E11, which is Fate Breaker.
Oh shoot, it's Sanjeet.
Yeah. But it's the important thing of that fight is it's all of Reen's father figures, right? It's Thancred prominently, but it's also Ranjit and Vothri, all of the people that Reen has held as a father figure. It goes into the storyline of not just aspecting something from memory that we can fight in order to release the ether like it is in the Eden raid. It is very much also casting off familial ties. So if this is Mitron possessing Reen, or Artemis rather, need to uphold to my own rule, Artemis maybe would be fucking with Reen's memories of like, hey, I need to cause you trauma so that I can take full control over your body. This would be a fun parallel to her dad, Thancred, also getting, possessed by La Habrea and having trauma related to that, because apparently getting possessed by Ascians runs in this family. But it also does speak to the grander story of Eden in Reen truly becoming, either as Artemis' possession, the knight to the sorceress of the Oracle of the Darkness. It's pulling on the FF8 aspect of literally casting off family ties, an outward sign of interchange to complete the cycle. It looks fun. I can't wait to get in there.
I can't wait to see it. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
We are doing, small shameless plug, please tune into the charity event for the race. We are doing regular lore breakdowns for it this time around. So if you want to see where the story of the fight is going and the ether physics implications, we will be doing that for the race.
Excellent.
Yep.
I love it. And when is the race going to start?
The date for the patch with the ultimate is 11/26. So it's the week of American Thanksgiving and Black Friday, which is brilliant because I don't have to take PTO and my family doesn't celebrate.
Awesome. Yay.
Anyways,
That is
Ascians, we
definitely
love
something to look
Ascians here.
forward to. So get that silver wig. You have work to do.
Ah! No!
Get the patterning.
I don't know if I'll make that whole bodysuit. This is not the kind of thing that I would usually wear.
You like robes, I know.
There's one thing about this whole trailer that was really curious to me. Where's the Grail?
Oh yeah.
True.
Hidden.
Yes, I mentioned this. They mentioned this.
It's in our in
I mentioned
room,
this, yes.
undefended, unwatched, where anyone can walk in and grab it.
I was gonna say the MSQ is gonna start with someone snatching it out of our in room, and the whole MSQ is just going to be us trying to track down the person who snatched it.
Oh my god.
If that was the case, there was no reason as to not show it the way they shoot trailers is basically giving us, you know, bait that's actually not too spoilery and out of context. But not showing the grill straight up to me is, I mean,
Everything
I
you
wouldn't
went
say
into, it's a spoiler.
it's a certainty, but yeah, that's my impression, that anything that this patch may have to do with the Grail.
As long as it doesn't get the Dynamis treatment.
No, but I think it could be perhaps too spoilery. Like, I don't know. It's you know how they usually shoot these things, and they left the whole thing very deliberately at a cliffhanger with the shot of the Grail in our possession. You know.
Yeah. I'm just
So-
worried that the Grail isn't going to show up until like 0.55.
Yeah, I think the Grail is more of a seed for 8.0 than anything we're dealing with right now.
Right now,
That
yes.
would piss so many people off.
Right now, yes, but for patch content, I doubt they're going to leave the Grail for 0.0. No, there are going to be a lead up.
But I think it's going to start coming into play in 0.3 and heavily in 0.4 and 5. But I don't think the resolution to the Alexandria arc is going to involve the Grail.
No,
FPS
not
PPO.
necessarily. I think not necessarily the Grail itself for the Alexandria arc. No, but as a whole, leading to the next expansion, they're going to have to be starting to.
Yeah, Preservation's going to steal the
work
Grail,
on that.
rip open a hole to somewhere else, and that's, I don't know, going to be 8.0. I have no idea.
We'll find
They're
out.
going to accidentally end up on Maricidia.
Yeah, that's where they go.
Oh shit! Not
Yeah,
to
no-
deter the stream or anything, but Gateway Fate was announced for next year, and the first guest of honor that they have announced will be Luis Bermudez,
Yeah, they did that last
Oh,
night.
nice.
I'm
Yep.
excited. That's the
for
voice
the
of
voice
Kona.
actor for Koana. Yeah.
Awesome.
They did also announce the dates for next year as well. It's October 18th and 19th. So I
So
will
if
be
you want
there
to see us again,
Yeah.
And the room block opens, what, December 1st? Something like that?
Yeah,
Yes,
December
sometime in
1st
December.
or 2nd.
Yeah.
My static got tired of me and my friends talking about how much we had fun at
It was fun.
Gateway. So
they should have
we're
gone.
fully No, they're fully we're trying to coordinate our first like full static get together
Oh,
to be
nice.
at Gateway next year. And this includes people in like multiple countries and time zones and stuff. So
I
Awesome.
doubt that Fan Fest will be around the same time as Gateway.
No, it'll
next
probably
year.
be in the summer again.
Yeah.
The
We'll
only reason
find
it was
out.
yeah. Only reason it was so late was because of COVID.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I'm
They
going
can
to
leave
have to
back on
see
track.
how to acquire China Fan Fest tickets.
Right?
Oh my
Do
God.
it.
Their
Can I
Fan
just
Fest is just so good.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, it
much
is.
would I have to pay them to ship me the entire Amarot set to redecorate my home? I would love to like wake up under that
I
arch.
know.
Do you know that it would literally just be all like smooth, slow piano in my house all of the time. Let me
Did
live
you-
my dreams.
Did you see the Heidelin Cafe in Guangzhou and the decals that they had on the windows in the cafe?
Yeah, it looks so pretty.
Yeah, like having the actual city lights shining through the Amarot vinyl or whatever it is they put on the window was so good.
I want that for my house.
Me too.
I want to live in Amarot, in case you cannot tell.
Who doesn't want to live in Amarot?
Me.
I would.
All right, damn
Of
it, you
course,
get
yeah.
me out that
Damn.
Art can move to Amarot.
You got the
Can
Grinch
we
of the
go-
cast right here.
Can we just shoot the Yumi so everyone wants to live in Amarot? Like,
Wow, Meowth. God, you,
All right,
you
where's
took
Emmett
that from
Silk's
0 to
gun?
100 real quick.
When is Machinist getting Emmett Silk's gun as a glam for real
I
though?
already have it.
Okay, we do already have it.
Yeah, it's literally from the first dungeon in Stormblood. It drops from Siren Song C. Coincidentally,
That's
it's
so
also
funny.
it's the exact same gun that Asahi uses to shoot Yatsuyu at the end of Stormblood too.
That's hilarious.
That's so funny.
I spent a lot of time looking into this specifically so that I could get that gun.
are you sure it's
It's
the
me.
same?
Yes, I am dead certain.
Okay. I was like, I didn't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's the same gun. They both use the gun from the Siren Song Sea.
Hmm.
Well, that about does it for our show today.
Mm-hmm.
So, lots of fun.
Yay, patch!
Yes, next patch. So patch is gonna drop on the 12th. Very excited for that. Next week we are having another guest on. Drum roll. Fruity Snacks is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about fishing. So,
Yay!
Arden will be
Yay.
very happy.
We had a lot of fun meeting him at Gateway, so we
Yeah,
kind
he
of
was really cool.
convinced
And
him to.
he knows a lot about fish, but his primary schooling is in astrophysics, which is even more interesting. So there's going to be a lot to talk
Space
about.
fish.
Yeah, space fish,
Space
exactly. So we're going to talk with him about the lore.
It's
of
actually
fish
the
in the
lunar
game.
whale.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
whales are not
They're not
whales
fish, they're
are not
mammals.
fish, but yeah, I know. But, you know.
It will be a good time. Fruity is a
Yes.
delight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So please join us again next week when we welcome Fruity Snacks onto the show. And in the meantime, please stay safe and have a fantastic week.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See ya.